Well, the University of Surrey was one of a generation of universities, along with Warwick, Essex and Sussex, that decided not to have a Department of English, investing primarily in applied and useful subjects. And indeed, when the then Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Professor John Turner, decided that the university needed English, the statutes had to be changed in order to get English established at Surrey. Then I was interviewed for the job, and one of the big challenges, I suppose, and it was immediate and I knew I was taking it on, was the professional training year, a placement. And I had researched the University of Surrey before the interview and had looked at their statistics on students who take placements, and they are very impressive. Students who do placements, and in Surrey we call it the professional training year.
Which year does that come in?
It comes between levels 2 and levels 3.
Okay.
And so they spend a year out in some kind of employment. But those students who do that, the employment rate within the first year is always over 90% into a proper job. So at my interview I was asked, would you design a professional training year for a degree in English literature? And I said yes. Yes, I knew it was going to be a challenge. I knew it was going to be something totally different in our subject field, but I was convinced by the statistics and knowing even then 3 years ago that that employment was not going to be easy for young people. Anything that we can do to help them get jobs, I think that we have a duty to do it. And so I have done it, and I have set up a professional training year. I think that was the big challenge, and it was one I went into knowingly. Of course, you know, this is a new degree programme, and it's only in its 3rd year. So this is our 1st year of having students out on professional training. A third have gone, and that's about 33. Some of them have gone abroad, some of them are in the UK, and all but one is fully paid. It's quite wonderful. They did a lot of it themselves, a tribute to the students who went out there to look for jobs. But also we have, and all departments in Surrey have, a professional training tutor to ensure that the students get the right kind of employment that is of benefit to them in their future careers. And I have a stunning one, Dr. Chernjit Maan, who has worked incredibly hard, and the fact that the professional training year is such a success is down to her. So full plaudits to her. I mean, if you wanted to interview Chernjit,
we might well.
I think that would be really good because she's been brilliant. So I suppose that was the big challenge, and it has paid off. It's really worked for us. I think the other thing that is true about the English programme in Surrey is that it responds to its institution's mission. And we were very careful to establish a programme that is very international. And it is international in terms of its content and international in terms of its recruitment. And that also feeds into the master's programme. We also emphasised being quite up to date, very contemporary, and we brought in the idea of relevance. And that's partly professional training, but that notion of relevance, of something that will help you in the outside world, feeds into other parts of the programme. We very much responded to what other institutions were doing. I noticed that you asked about the benchmark statement. Yes, we read the benchmark statement. It informed us. We read a lot of other information. We looked at the development of the programme in relation to other institutions in 2 separate and competing fashions. One, we looked at the market, and we knew that we could not compete with the big traditional universities like Oxford, or the smaller traditional universities like Royal Holloway. We had to be different. And so in some ways we said, okay, we can't do everything, so we must be niche. And that's why the identity that I have suggested to you is there. At the same time, being informed by the benchmark statement, we were all committed to allowing students to do all periods of English literature, and in their ground work at levels 1 and levels 2, they go from Anglo-Saxon, they even do Greek drama, all the way through to contemporary. So we ensure that they have a wide coverage. And so, although I say we are a contemporary programme, I have an undergraduate this year doing a dissertation on The Wife of Bath's Tale. So we are committed to that period spread, which I think is right for English literature degrees, and all of us were dedicated to that. But we have made ourselves slightly different. We have a placement year, which is unique. We also have this very strong emphasis on comparative literature, world literatures, global literature, and creative writing. So we made ourselves niche in terms of market forces, but responded to the benchmark statement. And then finally, as I was developing the notion of this work experience, relevancy, I realised that I might be doing it in Surrey, but actually places of doing it, and departments of English had a similar commitment to work experience around the country. And particularly useful to me was the work in both Trinity in Dublin and in Sheffield on inquiry-based learning, project-based. And that was very influential in the construction of the programme. And I think what's happened is, as teachers of English, we are dedicated to our students. We adore our students. And we know that it's tough for them getting jobs, and therefore if we think somehow we can give them a little bit of work experience, a little bit of knowledge, what it's like in the real world, then even if it's just in one module, even if it's in a holiday project, then we will go that extra mile and start bringing in things that perhaps might be a little outside of our discipline in a traditional way. And so I've been I'm very grateful to colleagues around the country sharing their experiences with me to help me develop the programme news. So I would say, yeah, we did look at the market forces, but at the same time, colleagues around the country were hugely supportive. Well, this year, of course, this being the first year of our placements, I do not know if there will be consistency or trends.
Of course.
This year, marketing and advertising has been particularly sought after by young people from my degree programme. And quite a lot of them have done that. Quite a lot went into arts administration, for example, working in theatres. One went into a specialist museum which has an archive on children's literature, to work with the archive on children's literature, because she intends to use that for her dissertation next year. Some of them have gone abroad and are working with education and language education. Some are working with language education in France, Germany, and we are currently, I have currently set up new exchanges with 2 universities in China, Beijing and Shanghai, several in Tokyo, and one in South Korea. And I go to Cape Town at Easter to set up exchanges with South African universities. We also have, of course, ones in Canada and North America. And my colleague, Professor Justin Edwards, will be going to Delhi to set up one with the University of Delhi in March. So we are creating, we hope, a wide range of international opportunities for our students. What we did find, which was very interesting, was that we had a lot of offers with non-profit making organisations to take our students for a placement year. And our students didn't want those unpaid jobs, they wanted paid jobs, and they looked for them and found them. And the other interesting thing was most of them wanted to be in London. That's where they gravitated to. So although we tend to think, and I think as academics we think, what sort of jobs will they go to? Actually, they are very flexible, and they are looking for paid employment in a capital city or around the world. I think we are becoming aware that we have to make the skills, that the transferable skills that our students get anyway, much more obvious to them, and that we give them concrete examples. You could use this skill in this particular way in work, in the future work environment. I also think that English students gain immensely from the transferable skills they get, and the range of transferable skills of English students is considerable. I think that they are very employable in what they learn.